Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome to another episode of The Season Keepers, the show where the only two people we recommend keeping for the season is us. My name's Matt, aka Clean Sheet Wipeout.
My name's James, aka FPL Drug.
How you doing, mate?
I'm good, thank you. Off work for the week, so happy. Got plenty of time to plan for Champman and fantasy football.
Oh, it's always tasty. I've got a week and a half booked off at the end of the March, and I can't fucking wait, mate.
Yeah, don't blame you.
Obviously, you had your birthday Sunday. It was nice doing our little Zoom with everybody, but did you enjoy yourself?
Yeah, I did. It's low key, but yeah, had a couple of beers, watched the football. Don't get much better than that, I don't think.
Your cake looked absolutely banging.
Oh yeah, Milky Way cupcake. Yeah, it's pretty nice. Yeah,
I swear it looked the size of your head, mate.
Yes, we've still got like half of it left.
Nice. If you don't want to finish it, just post it down. I'll have it. Right. Obviously, we've got the mini double game week. Man City Saints play tomorrow, which we'll cover at the end of it. But should we get cracking on the fixtures?
That's it.
Go on then. Right. First things first. And it was Burnley 1, Arsenal 1.
Yep. First goal from Aubameyang. Annoyed I didn't actually bet on that. I thought that was going to happen. But no, yeah, I think Arsenal might be a little bit disappointed in the goal they conceded with Chris Wood.
The fuck was Xhaka doing?
Yeah, exactly.
Let's not beat around the bush, mate. What the fuck?
Yeah, let's pull him out. But yeah, stupid defensive error from Xhaka. And I think Arsenal will be disappointed with like the way Burnley have been playing recently to only come away with a point.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. And I mean, Arsenal missed a few chances. Saka looked brilliant in the first half. I thought he was really unlucky. And then obviously, God, what's his name? Eric Peters. He had an interesting second half when he came on, didn't he?
Yeah. Obviously, yeah, Charlie Taylor. Did Charlie Taylor go off?
Yeah.
Yeah. Was it injury or tactical?
I think the bench thought that he was injured because he seemed to signify that he wasn't. But then obviously when the camera panned on him on the bench, he had an ice pack on his hamstring. So maybe it was precautionary. But yeah, I don't think Eric Peters could have asked for much more when he came on. Obviously, he had the handball, which in my opinion is a handball and it should have been a penalty because a couple of weeks ago, Bertrand had the ball hit, struck him from pretty close range, given as a pen. This time Peters has his arm out at 90 degrees. The ball hits his arm and it's not given. So
yeah, and they kind of glossed over it as well. Like it was quite clear that should have been a penalty. But
yeah. Whereas obviously the pen and the red card was then given for when Peters managed to clear it off the line somehow with his shoulder, which obviously is, rightly VAR checked that, overruled it. One hell of a clearance. But the irony is you don't get a penalty for a clear handball and then the ref gives a penalty and a red card for something that, is actually within the rules.
Yes, it's all over the place, really. But in fairness, I thought it didn't hit his shoulder. When I was watching it live, I sort of had the same view as the ref. Obviously, when you see it VAR back, you can see it hits. Yeah. What I liked was Lacazette going over to him, trying to point to his sleeve, saying it was a handball.
Yeah, no, mate, the sleeve is within the rules. So, you're even pointing that. But yeah, talking to Lacazette, screaming. What the fuck was he doing? I don't know who made the challenge, but when he rolls around and just goes,
Well, yeah, my girlfriend actually brought him in this week, and he was obviously benched. So I was like, oh no, what's she doing?
Honestly, I was embarrassed to watch that because it went through our speakers in our house, and Ellie was like, "What the fuck was that?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's Lacazette rolling around on the floor."
I think we're seeing a lot of that recently in terms of footballers going down easily, screaming, because there's no crowd, so you can hear it more.
Exactly. I think that's the thing, and they're kind of like being a bit more emotive about it. And then obviously on Match of the Day, I don't know if you've seen it, but then at the end of Match of the Day, like Gary Lineker and that just took the absolute piss. And then as they were rolling around, loved it. You'd be right of that, did. But obviously, Arsenal assets are ones to watch. Post, or obviously they play game week 29, and then they've actually got a really nice run from game week 31. The only worry for me is rotation. Obviously, if they get further in the Europa League, they're quite clearly going to take that seriously and probably drop the Premier League. They're not going to make Champions League. They're not going to get top 4. So even though I want the likes of Aubameyang, Saka, I think they're really good options. I think there'd be a risk.
Well, yeah, they're being sort of rotated as it is before they've even progressed in the Europa League. So it's going to happen.
Exactly right. Let's move on to the second game. And finally, we can celebrate a win. It was Sheffield United 0, Southampton 2.
Hey! Fantastic win. The highlight for me was Shea Adams' goal.
Oh,
superb.
Stunning.
What a strike.
Yeah, you wouldn't think he was out of form, would you?
No, I'm very confident to take that on, to be honest. But fair play to him. He executed it beautifully. Just one of those goals that makes you really happy as a fan, or even seeing anyone score that goal, even if it's not a Saints player, it's good to see.
What I'm really hoping, because obviously this is, I guess, a similar period to the season than it was last season when he had gone on that barren spell, and then obviously he scored that worldie against City. And then he went on a lovely run. Like, he gained confidence. I'm really hoping that strike gives him confidence going into this next run of games, because obviously with Ings' injury again, which is really annoying, we need Adams to step up and become that front man again, especially obviously Walcott's still out. So he's got to take the mantle, and hopefully hitting that strike so sweetly will give him the confidence to, take on more opportunities.
I hope he will. He looked so happy afterwards, and relieved, very sort of proud of himself. Obviously, it's a great strike. So I think it's the perfect opportunity for him to step up, like you're saying, with Ings out, and we need him to.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And obviously, Ings owners for the double game week were really unfortunate, because had he been on the pitch, he would have taken the pen. And obviously, Prowsey stepped up, slotted that away. Nice, I think it was a 10-point return from Prowsey. The other player that I've been incredibly impressed with is Teller.
Yeah, he's done a great job for a young lad coming into the team. Yeah. Obviously, been crippled by injuries, but he's looked good. He's got a couple. I feel like he's got a couple of assists, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think so. He's got just checking now. He's got one assist. Okay. Obviously winning the pen, but we thought he had won the pen against Leeds. That unfortunately wasn't given. His minutes are being managed, which is good to see. Like, he's not been thrown in 90 at the moment. But I think, probably one to keep an eye on, particularly for this next run, because I expect him to get more game time. And then the other talking point is obviously Fraser Forster keeps his place in goal, gets himself a clean sheet, and he's only 4 million.
Yeah, very unfortunate for those that held McCarthy for these doubles. Yeah. They've been quite fucked over here. Yeah. But Fraser Forster, as you say, great value, 4 million, and he's playing.
Oh, yeah.
And keep clean sheets.
I fully expect him to rise. Obviously, there'll be people probably playing up till game week 29 and then wildcarding, or potentially, looking to build towards further fixtures. And we've got a nice run ourselves from game week 30. We've got 3 decent fixtures: Burnley, West Brom, and Crystal Palace. I don't see a reason why you couldn't bring Fraser Forster in and play for all 3 of those games.
Yeah, no, very good shout. Save some money there as well.
Yeah, right. Next game, and wasn't exactly the thriller that we thought it could be, but it was Aston Villa 0, Wolves 0.
Yeah, a bit annoyed for me as someone that actually benched Martinez. I was expecting him to concede. But no, a solid performance from them. I don't know how Size misses his chance.
Oh.
It was harder to do what he did than to put that in. I mean, it did. In fairness to him, it did come at quite some pace.
Yeah, you've got, no matter what part.
I mean, the goal's right in front of you. Just make a bit of contact on it, keep it down, and it's in.
It's harder to put that over the bar from a yard out than it is to let it hit off your shin and go in.
Yeah, unbelievable. I couldn't believe it when I saw it, to be honest.
I've honestly no idea. I mean, obviously, I've got Martinez, which is brilliant. Pissed me off that he had that third save taken away from him. I know it's in the rules that, Neto's free kick is technically a cross, but to me, I think he knows what he's doing there. And it should be a save, but that's just being a bitter Martinez owner. However, I have no idea how Martinez makes the save from Connor Cody when he gets the ball, turns in the box, and it's literally point blank. Hits Martinez, obviously, as he goes down and then goes wide. And I had my head in my hands at that point when I saw Cody. I was like, oh, fuck, because I'd captain Martinez and Sky as well. And I thought it was game over. But yeah, it was incredibly tense towards the end. I genuinely thought Wolves were going to nick it.
It was. They're piling on the pressure, attacking. But yeah, credit to Martinez. He's an excellent goalkeeper. And got to almost question Arsenal selling them.
Oh, 100%. I mean, how that man has been sat on Arsenal's bench for what, four years, barely getting a game. He's a quality keeper, and it's just a shame that we've not seen more of him. And obviously, Aston Villa are one of these teams that plays in game week 29. Now, most of us have probably already got at least 2. I've got 3. So I'm expecting the likes of, Martinez, Target, Mings, Watkins to all become maybe a bit more heavily owned than they already are moving forward as people look to make transfers. It wouldn't surprise me. And obviously with that, with Jack Grealish looking likely to come back in the next week or 2, hopefully. So that will potentially improve Villa going forward because they've looked a little bit lackluster recently.
Yeah, a bit flat without Grealish. Obviously, Watkins likes to hit the woodwork recently. He's been a bit unlucky, but
7 times this season, isn't it?
7. Wow, yeah, I knew it was a lot. But
yeah, he's got the record for the Premier League, I think, at the moment, hitting the woodwork 7 times.
Yeah, Watkins is one of those where I've got him in for 29 specifically, but now I'm wondering if I've damaged my team more in the meantime than what I'm benefiting from those 90 minutes in game week 29.
It's frustrating. It's the same with, we'll come on to same with DCL. It's just frustrating seeing these constant 2-pointers.
And exactly that, like tearing your team up for 1 week essentially.
Yeah, pretty much. Right, and then the last game on the Saturday was what Brighton thought was going to be a win when they went ahead, but it ended up being Brighton 1, Leicester 2.
Another win for Leicester. Iheanacho starting to do okay, isn't he?
Yeah, lovely finish.
Yeah, very impressive.
Absolutely stunning assist from Tielemans, though. Like the no-look pass to play it through to Iheanacho just opens Brighton up entirely. It's such a good pass.
Yeah, it was. And you obviously got Amate performing well in this at 3.9 million. Yeah. Got the goal, got a couple of bonus.
10-pointer for a 3.9 million defender.
Exactly. You cannot complain with that. And they've got a decent fixture. Obviously, they don't play in 29, but they've got Sheffield United at home next. So, providing he plays, could be on for some more points there. Could be a 10-pointer. Yeah,
it wouldn't surprise me. As for Brighton, they continue to struggle, despite looking really positive and putting in some good performances. They're slowly falling towards that relegation zone.
Yes, certainly worrying when they're playing well, but they're just not getting the points to show for it. Yeah. So before you know it, there's just, as you say, sliding down the table.
Yeah.
And it's hard to see where the points are going to come from.
Exactly.
They've got the next 2, which are easy.
It's not an easy run.
Saints and Newcastle, they're the games you'd fancy them in. But then you've got Man United away, Everton at home, Chelsea away. Those 3, you can't see them picking up much from those 3.
No. You'd expect them to probably get a win then at Sheffield United, potentially. But then obviously it finishes with Leeds, Wolves, West Ham, City and Arsenal. It's a horrible run from basically now through, with a couple of games in there that you might expect them to pick up points. So it is worrying times because, like you said, Brighton have been playing well and not picking up the points. So if they're playing well and not getting them, how hard is it for even to pick up a point when they then have an off game?
No, exactly. It's concerning. And as someone that brought in Dunk for Sky, especially, it's a bit... That feels another one of those.
Don't get me started on that fucking transfer for Lewis Dunk, I tell you. Brought him in for that captaincy. Yeah, he got pass and tier in that game, but it wasn't a clean sheet. He's done fuck all since then. I've actually taken him out. I took him out at the weekend for Gundogan. I made it was stupid because I had obviously moved Gundogan onto Barnes and Barnes got injured. which pissed me off. So I've wasted 2 transfers at least doing it. And genuinely, I don't even think I'll go back to a Brighton asset for that Brighton Newcastle game because transfers are tight. So I want to potentially hold them, particularly where I am now. There might be moves future that I could look to attack. So we'll see.
Fair enough.
Right, let's move on to Sunday's game, and didn't exactly start the brightest of days, did it? It was West Brom 0, Newcastle 0.
No, not the best game to watch on my birthday, but what the main thing was that Johnson kept a clean sheet because he's the keeper I played, and if he didn't keep a clean sheet, I'd have been fuming with Martinez on my bench. So
Yeah.
I actually gained a point. I played the right keeper. Johnson
did,
got 8 points, Martinez got 7. Other than that, there's not really much to say about this game. Just looked like 2 managers that didn't want to lose, basically.
Yeah, exactly that. And yeah, like you said, I don't think there's much more to say on it, so we'll move on. And move on to one hell of a result for Fulham. It was Liverpool 0, Fulham 1.
Yeah, our old man, Mario Lemina, popping up with a goal. Yeah, fair play to him. Obviously, Areola's been carried on his good form. I didn't really see a clean sheet for them coming in this game away at Anfield, but Liverpool clearly very out of form at the moment. So credit to Fulham. They're looking on track to avoid the drop.
Oh, no, yeah, and we've obviously been praising them over the last 2 or 3 pods about how good they've looked, and we shouted out Adebayo, Anderson, in the last pod, and surprise, they both step up their performance again against Liverpool, pick up a bonus point, or a couple of bonus points, and continue that fine form of hopefully seeing Fulham stay in the Premier League, because I think Parker's doing a brilliant job to turn around their fortunes to where they were at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, fantastic job. Like I was almost like at the start of the season convinced they were going down.
Yeah.
Especially seeing the way they were playing. They just looked toothless, like a championship side at best. Whereas now they look like a Premier League side. They look organised. They're working well together. They're scoring.
Yeah.
So credit to them. Great job.
Exactly. Whereas obviously Liverpool, they rotated quite heavily for this game. Obviously Klopp potentially resting players with the Champions League and stuff coming up as well, but it really didn't work for him. And Mo Salah once again blanks, which is both infuriating for FPL and Sky. Like, what a waste of a slot in Sky at the moment. It's starting to piss me off. And if they didn't have that single game day against Wolves coming up, when to be fair, I'm fully expecting 2 points doubled to 4. If they didn't have that, I probably would have got rid of him by now.
Yeah, no, exactly the same for me. I'm holding him for that game day in Sky. FPL, I want to get rid of him, but I feel like there's other transfers I want to do. So surely he comes good. But how many weeks do I want to keep saying it? Like 5 blanks in a row, 6, 7? When am I going to come off of it?
And the most irritating thing is obviously they play Wolves. I think it'll be a tough game. They're then blank. Then they've got Arsenal and Villa. But after that, it's actually it's probably one of the best ends to a season of any team, because they then play Newcastle, Man United, Southampton, West Brom, Burnley, and Crystal Palace is their final run of games. Now, if they manage to, find some confidence, maybe get a few more players back from injury, that could be the prime time to then be captaining the likes of Mo Salah at home to Newcastle, away to Palace. Like, they're genuine games that last season would expect him to get at least 2 goals. This season, probably not. But is it then going to be more valuable to hold him whilst everybody sells? And then, they have to potentially find the money to bring him back if he picks up form, whereas we're still holding and we've got the captaincy already there.
Well, yeah, exactly. The thing is, he's a real nightmare to bring back into your team because he costs so much. You almost have to take a -4 to fund him back in because you need to get those funds.
Exactly.
It's a tricky one. And if I didn't have problems elsewhere, I'd probably be taking him out.
Yeah, and I've already made the mistake of taking out one heavily owned asset, which comes in the next game. It was Manchester City 0, Man United 2, and obviously Bruno Fernandes returns.
I enjoyed this one. As someone that held him, started him, just didn't really see the logic in taking out the best player in the game in terms of the highest amount of points scored. But everyone did. I get it's a tough fixture away at Man City, and then obviously West Ham are on form too. So I do see the logic behind the decision from that angle. But if you look at the amount of points he's got this season and the amount obviously he's on pens, free kicks, I just felt like it was a silly thing to do.
The only reason I did it is, like you said, it's the fixture, which I thought Man City, they're on form. I genuinely didn't expect Man United to get anything in this game. Shaw's third on my bench, for fuck's sake, and he's returned with 14 points. So obviously getting rid of Bruno and benching Shaw killed me in FPL this week. But I then thought, like you said, West Ham was a tough game, and then they blank. And I brought in Heung-min Son because, I like their run. He obviously got the assist against Palace. Could have been more. They play in 29. Ideally, I'd probably intend to bring Bruno back even as early as game week 30. Like, I've got the money there to do it. It was just for this short-term run. And I didn't expect him to do what he did, but I mean, he got the penalty within a minute. Like, come on, like, Jesus, what the fuck you doing? But Bruno, steps up, returns. He's still 57% owned, so it hurt a little bit, but the logic was there. It's just, that the move didn't quite pay off. But Man City looked a little bit off of it, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. I don't know what it is, but they seem to perform quite badly against Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's Man United teams. Yeah. He seems to suss them out tactically every time.
I know. It's weird, isn't it? Isn't that the stat? Hasn't he like played City four times, or Pep like 4 times or something, and only lost once?
It's something like that. He's got a very good record. Like we saw the City derby game.
Yeah.
In the League Cup where Man United won.
We did, yeah. It was really good. I enjoyed it.
Really, really organised Man United teams. Just stops Man City doing what they do best, passing the ball, just crushes all kind of creation they have in the midfield.
Yeah. And the other annoyance, I guess, at the moment is, excuse me, I don't know how De Bruyne ended up with the most kind of BPS points for Man City in this game, because I didn't think he had a great game at all.
No, I'd agree with that. Yeah, he didn't do much, and it's a kind of a myth. Obviously, it's based on certain factors, so I don't doubt that he did X amount of passes or whatever. But in terms of visually seeing him perform, I don't think he warranted to be the best player on the pitch.
No, and since he's returned, he's just not looked up to his full sharpness yet, which is obviously a worrying sign for City, because the reliance on De Bruyne when he plays, like you said last week, everything seems to go through him, because he almost demands the ball and he wants to be that playmaker. But genuinely, I think you were right last week when you said things look like they're slowing up with De Bruyne back in that lineup, and they kind of need him to be a bit fitter and a bit more clinical quickly, particularly with the Champions League games coming back up.
Yeah, no, it's a tough one. Maybe perhaps Pep, I don't know, it's a bit controversial, but could play him in the Champions League and rest him in the Premier League, or rotate him in the Premier League until he's sort of sharp again, because he doesn't seem to be sharp enough at the moment. No,
agreed. And then looking at United, obviously Dean Henderson stepped up with David De Gea unable to play. I thought he had a really good performance, and actually do you think he's potentially put that thought in Ollie's mind now that Henderson should be vying for that number 1 spot?
It's definitely somewhere in his mind. Hopefully it's sort of at the forefront, to be honest, with regards to fans. I reckon they want him to be the number 1. De Gea is obviously, Henderson did make an error when he played a couple of starts ago, but I'm more confident in Henderson over De Gea, to be honest, and I think he deserves his chance.
Yeah, agreed. And obviously it'd be good for England as well if Henderson could then get a good run of games.
Oh, definitely. I think with like the decline in Pope's form, I'd fancy Henderson over, say, Pope.
Yeah, agreed. Right, and then the final game on the Sunday, and it was actually quite nice to have a bit of a thriller to end the day. It was Spurs 4, Crystal Palace 1.
Yeah, very, very impressive. How was he? Harry Kane ran the show.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, as a non-owner, it was a bit terrifying watching it, especially with Son not actually setting him up. It was that man, Gareth Bale.
Yeah. Gareth Bale had an unbelievable game. Thought he was
He
brilliant.
was involved in everything.
Yeah.
All over the pitch. Fantastic assists for the goals for Kane. His work rate was sublime. He's playing with a smile on his face. Like, I want him in my team. And I've just remembered I am thinking of taking Salah out, because I'm thinking of doing Salah out and DCL out and Bale and somebody else in.
Wow. Okay.
Kane, duh.
I wouldn't make that move. Do Spurs play in the Europa League on Thursday?
I think they do, yeah. So I can afford to wait.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you can afford to wait, definitely wait.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't surprise me if Bale is now like cemented his place in that starting lineup, because, you know, we've touched on it before, but his minutes are clearly being managed, because it was 69, 66, and then another 69. But in that period of time, he scored 4 goals and got an assist. So they're getting the most out of him for that run, and then bringing someone else on in his replacement. He's not burning out for the 90 minutes. So Spurs are only benefiting from this. And obviously when they've got Kane, like for Kane's second goal, what was it, his second or his first? I think it was his second, stunning strike, obviously from the edge of the box. Like, lovely. Bale's goals, clinical as they were. And there's that quite amusing meme going around where obviously I think it's when Kane is set up Bale's second, it then pans to obviously Kane and Son in the middle. And then everyone's like, you know, little quotes about Kane saying, "I'm sorry, mate. I'm sorry." It won't happen again. But obviously Son only got 1 assist for Kane's second goal. And that was marginally onside when VAR looked at it. I found that weird, but I didn't realize myself that it's actually taken from the moment in which Son kicks the ball, and it's from his foot position, despite the fact that he's obviously leaning forward when he's playing the pass. So yeah, that was an interesting one, but it's a shame that, you know, it almost got ruled out, because that would have been a strange one.
Yeah, it's one of those ones that look miles onside, but once you realise they're taking like that bit of his foot versus his foot, it suddenly becomes very close.
Yeah.
But yeah, thankfully that one was onside.
Yeah, tell me about it, because I needed obviously the Son assist for make up some of the damage that Bruno caused, but yeah, also got Kane another goal, captain in Sky, and then had him in FPL. So can't complain about that hole.
Not at all.
Right, let's move on to last night's game. And first things first, what we all thought was probably another guaranteed clean sheet for Chelsea became one. It was Chelsea 2, Everton 0.
Yep. Unexpected goal scorers in this one. Godfrey own goal and Jorginho.
Yeah.
Strong performance from Chelsea. DCL, very disappointing. Very flat performance. They didn't look like they'd score if they had 180 minutes, 2 hours, 3 hours.
Yeah. Wasn't great at all. I mean, Azpilicueta, there's a stat that he is now the only player in that squad to have played every game under Tuchel. Like, every other player has now been rotated, because obviously Rudiger got rotated for this one. So who knows? Azpilicueta might get rotated at some point, but the fact he's got the armband potentially cements him in that back line. And the form that Chelsea have picked up since Tuchel came, that they're suddenly, you know, becoming clinical again. Obviously, Havertz came in for this one, got both assists, obviously won the penalty, got the assist from Godfrey's own goal, and I thought he looked particularly impressive. It's good to see him coming back into the fold. Again, it just outlines the players that Chelsea have in their squad that haven't been getting the minutes recently.
It is. They've got a lot of options, and they're all capable of when they do play. But it's tricky from FPL as to which ones to get on, because you don't want someone that plays once every 2 games. You want someone playing every game, and that's what puts me off of like Tammy Abraham, Havertz, Hudson-Odoi. Like, you're reluctant. Whereas Azpilicueta, as you say, he's playing every game and he's doing well. He's getting bonus. He's getting clean sheets. against tough opposition as well. Man United clean sheet, Everton clean sheet. It's good stuff.
It's frustrating because I I got rid of Aspilicueta for Dunk for that fucking Brighton captaincy game. So he goes back again. Like, the points I've now missed out on Aspilicueta because of a move that was covering a captaincy, that we all believed Brighton were going to get, a clean sheet. Dunk was going to come out with, a 10, 12 pointer. Became a 5-pointer, and it's been downhill since then. So just outlines the frustration, these moves. But I'd love to own Timo Werner. The issue is I don't think I can because, like you said, rotation. He seems to play against teams that provide a press and he can get in behind. But as soon as, they come up against like a Burnley, for instance, a bit of a low block, struggle to break them down, they will likely go for an Abraham or a Giroud.
Yeah, and plus I think my blood pressure would go through the roof if I owned him. Like, the amount of chances he misses is insane.
Yeah, I've done it once before this season. I don't think I can do it again.
No, it's not worth it.
No. It could have very easily been 4 or 5-0 to Chelsea, to be fair. Jordan Pickford made 8 saves in this game.
In fairness to him, he actually played quite well, Pickford. Yeah. He was very commanding of his goal, made some decent saves, as you say.
Yeah, second half.
But yeah, no.
Lovely saves.
Yeah, no clean sheet, but fair play to him.
Yeah.
He's had a lot of criticism.
He does, exactly. Right, and then obviously the final game that's been played this week, and for me, a little bit of a shock result, but it comes as West Ham 2, Leeds 0, and West Ham continue their fine form.
Yeah, a bit of a shock for me as well. I expected a more even game, a more balanced game, but Leeds didn't really get involved as much as I thought they were going to. I thought they'd score 1 or 2, maybe even 3 goals in this game.
So poor in front of goal, though.
Yeah, they're very, very poor, which surprised me, really, to be honest, because they've been actually quite good this season. Bamford's been very clinical. Yeah. Rafinha has been obviously excellent, but they didn't really show that.
No,
yesterday.
Bamford was almost showing the form that he showed in the promotion season for Leeds, when he needs 6 chances before he can put one in the back of the net, and that's not been the Patrick Bamford that we've seen in the last 6 to 8 weeks. Like, he's been so clinical, given a chance, puts it away. He's had some lovely finishes, but this one, there was a moment when Rafinha played the ball across to him, and you thought guaranteed tap in, and he blazed it over the bar. It's just
very frustrating to watch. It's worrying, but overall, like, he's had an excellent season, and I think he will keep putting chances away.
Yeah, and I'm probably still going to go back to him for the blank, in fairness, because I've got that slot. The only other thing is Jesse Lingard once again. I mean, obviously missed the pen, but then gets on the score sheet, continues to bag the points for West Ham, and in fairness is probably outshining Antonio at the moment.
I think so. He's been very impressive since he came in. I brought him in for Barnes this week, and I was very happy. Obviously, I'd rather he scored the pen, but I'll take that. To be honest, he's looked sharp. He's looked like when he was performing well at United. When he was in the team, starting. It's good to see he's loving his football.
Yeah, absolutely. To be fair, I think West Ham fans come the summer will be screaming that they sign him, because he's full of confidence, and his link-up play with, Antonio, Benrahma, brilliant.
Definitely. And I'll tell you who I'm really impressed with is Cresswell. The consistency of his crosses is insane.
Unbelievable.
Much to my frustration with benching Craig Dawson. So obviously he scores a header from a corner like he does what feels like every game I bench him. Yeah. Fair play, but obviously it's down to the delivery of Cresswell, in my opinion. It's excellent.
I was selfishly pleased that you had benched Dawson after I have Shaw last on my bench. So
I was with you with the massive 13, 14 point benchers.
You were, yeah. Big question then. Do West Ham make top 4 this season?
I mean, I think they certainly could. I wouldn't say no, but I reckon they're more likely to finish sort of 5th or 6th.
Yeah, I think you're probably right, mainly because of the fixtures. Like, they're picking up points at good results against good teams at the moment, but they've still to play United, Arsenal, Leicester, Chelsea, and Everton before the end of the season. And they're obviously teams that they'll be fighting for those top 4, top 6 places. I'd love to see West Ham do it, but yeah, I think they'll probably end up Europa League. And in fairness, come the start of the season, had you said that to a West Ham fan, guaranteed most of them would have said, bite your hand off for that.
Well, yeah, definitely. I mean, they've not really spent that much money, and yet he's done an excellent job. So thinking of what they could do potentially next season with like a good transfer here, a good transfer there, it's exciting for them.
Yeah, well, exactly. I mean, they brought in obviously Soucek and Soufal is their 2 primary signings. Lingard and Dawson are loan signings, and yet they're performing for them week in, week out.
Yeah, I mean, Kufal costs like fuck all. He costs about 5 million, I think.
Dirt cheap. So, he only came because Soucek's his mate.
Came for the potato salad.
Yeah, pretty much. Right. Let's look ahead then. Obviously, we're recording on Tuesday. Let's look ahead to tomorrow night, 6 o'clock kickoff for the double game week, and it's Man City versus Southampton. What do you think?
Now, I'm not expecting much from us. I'm a little bit more positive than perhaps I would have been after beating Sheffield United. I still think we'll lose. We shouldn't get battered. So I'm thinking a sort of a 2-1, 3-1 City kind of game.
Okay, yeah, I would have probably been more positive had City beaten United, but I am now worried that they want to go back. They're at home again. They might want to prove a point to people watching on TV and obviously across the nation and across the globe, in fairness, that was a bit of a blip. I'm just hoping they don't prove too big of a point. And potentially rotation might come into it because, they play Fulham then at the weekend and then they've got the Champions League tie mid next week. So, yeah, most of us have got triple Man City, but I guarantee one of them at least misses out.
Yeah, no, it's tricky.
Yeah.
Pep roulette.
I'm gonna say 2-0 City. That's my prediction. Right.
Yeah, I think one of them definitely right there.
Well, yeah. Obviously, the game week hasn't quite finished yet, but how are you doing so far?
So far I'm sat on 40 points. I've got obviously captaincy on DS, so should hopefully get another game out of that.
You'd hope so.
Fernandez my best performer on 10 points, followed by Johnston on 8, Lingard and Son on 5, and the rest are 2s, or 1 in the case of Dallas, which is a bit painful considering I could have obviously played Dawson on 13, but I fancy Dallas over Dawson.
Yeah. No, I'm in a similar boat, to be honest. I've got obviously Martinez in goal, got me 7 points. Matty Target with the double Villa, got 6. Across the board in midfield, pretty much a shit show. Rafinha 2, Salah 2, Gundogan captain 4, and then Son obviously thankfully got the assist. The main reason that I'm currently sat on 49 points is thanks to Harry Kane, obviously his 19-point haul. Luke Shaw, as I've said, sat 3rd on my bench, and Calvert-Lewin will be the one to come off, which is frustrating because Kabak obviously missed out, which was a bit annoying, but it wouldn't have really mattered, Liverpool conceded anyway. And Areola, once again, sat on my bench with 8 points, but it's one or the other, and I knew I'd have this problem building, obviously, to that bench boost last week, the week before, so it was always going to be a problem this week. However, I've got Cancelo, Stones, and Gundogan to come. I'd love for all 3 to play, but obviously Cancelo was taken off early against United. That might help. Stones could be the one to miss out for Laporte, potentially. Oh, fuck knows. It's not even worth guessing.
No, yeah, I think one of those will miss out probably, but you still should get some points out of them.
Yeah. Right, let's jump on to Sky then. And obviously, again, we're part of the way through the week. A lot of us have got 4, 5, 6 City assets still. But how you doing so far?
Bit painful, to be honest. Without Harry Kane, I've kind of fallen down a bit.
Ouch.
So team one's down to 6k, team two's down to 3k. Team one on getting 78 points, team two getting 63. Obviously, Harry Kane alone is on something like 49.
46 points.
46, yeah, which is insane. So not owning him at all has certainly hurt my teams. I mean, I own Bale in team one, so
Nice.
14 points for him.
Decent.
Which I was very happy with. Had the Azpilicueta captaincy yesterday, so it's done okay considering I don't have Kane. 78 points. Team two, on the other hand, it's not great. It's let down by the likes of Phil Foden, who came off the bench.
Hopefully, he gets a start tomorrow and at least gets 2 points.
Yeah, yeah, I bloody hope so. Dunk, DCL, Salah blank captaincy. Everything that could go wrong in this team sort of went wrong. But yeah, Harry Kane is the one that's been punishing me.
Yeah, big time. Like, thankfully, I own Kane. Otherwise, it would have probably been the end of my season. Like, for where I am, that those 46 points are massive. And obviously, his ownership in the top 1K is 93.4%. So if I didn't have him, I'd have plummeted big time. Other than that, it's not been a particularly great week so far. I'm on 101, so I can't complain. But it's primarily down to Kane and then the Martinez captaincy. I'm a bit annoyed with myself because obviously I've mentioned the Azpilicueta move, and it meant that, I had to captain Rafinha yesterday. Yeah, he got shot here, but it's only 4 points double to 8. Whereas I really wish I had Azpilicueta. It would have been ideal. Doesn't feel like the right time to now move on to him, given he plays Saturday. And it's the same game day as the likes of, DCL and whatnot. So I'm probably going to have to wait until after the blank before thinking what to do. And then from this Saturday onwards, that's probably the time that people are now going to be looking to ship out these Man City assets, with obviously reduction in fixtures. They blank in 29. They then obviously blank again against Southampton because Man City then play in the cup. So it's one of those moments that if you've got the transfers, it's definitely the time to move off. It's just planning as and when you can. So I'm down to 41st from 39th, which I can't complain about, but you could see the rise in the players that are around us. The reason that they rose yesterday is primarily down to the Chelsea move. And have you seen the top of the leaderboard recently?
I haven't.
So there's a lad called Darren Slater that I've been following on the leaderboard. I'm not sure if he's on Twitter. Shout if you are, mate. But he's quite clearly got the same team because he's now top and second.
I've seen this guy, yes. The same amount of points.
Yeah,
he's clearly
exactly the same amount of points. And he's been steadily rising since overhaul with obviously both of his teams. And now he's sat, first and second, which is unbelievable. Shout out to Ben Cameron. He's a Planet FPL patron. He's fourth at the moment. And obviously the much loved Talon Nadeem from the community, he's seventh. So there's some good names in that top 10 that I recognise. And then there are names in there that are absolute stalwarts of the game that continue to do well. So I think for me, it's going to be fucking tough to break into that. That's for sure.
Hey, it does look it. Quick question. So if you finish first and second, do you win 50 grand and 5 grand?
I seen this question, and I mean, I don't know if the answer was right, but I'm sure I saw Luke Disable answer it. And I think Sky only pay out for one team. So obviously he's giving himself the best chance of doing it. But yeah, I have a feeling that Darren would then win the 50 grand. His second team would be void. And then, at the moment it's Michael Shipley that's in third. So he'd probably jump to second, and then Ben Cameron would finish third. So I think that's the way they do it. We'd obviously have to check the rules.
What, would sixth place then get, say, a PS5?
Yeah, I think everybody would then bump up because they just void the second team. Which seems a little bit odd, because what's the point in allowing you to have two teams? But if that's their rules, that's their rules.
Yeah, fair enough.
We won't touch upon gambling rules anyway, because obviously we've had this football index drama that's been kicking off, and I mean,
I listened to Planet FPL's podcast.
Yeah, brilliant Planet FPL podcast on that. It really opened my eyes to what's gone on behind the scenes, and I think it was on Sunday morning I read quite a lot of threads about it, or Saturday night when it kicked off. Just because, you know, obviously we know good members of the community have been hit hard by this, and man, like Football Index have fucked people over, and I sincerely hope that things get rectified and people, you know, at least manage to claim a good proportion of their money back, because it's not just, you know, I looked at it previously and I was gonna, you know, invest a little bit, have a bit of fun, see what it was like. People have put like life savings into this and have got thousands of pounds tied up.
Yeah, I've seen screenshots of hundreds of thousands of pounds just lost, or 80% drops in terms of their portfolio. It's madness. And you got to feel for those people. Like, people could commit suicide over these sorts of things.
Yeah, exactly that. And I mean, it's not right. These guys can't get away with it. And I mean, obviously we won't delve too much into it, but if you really want to know what's gone on, Planet FPL did an exceptional podcast on it, and I think it's well worth a listen. Right, let's jump on then to the final kind of fun game that we all play, and it is Fantasy Champman. And obviously we're actually recording before the week kicks off this time, so we can give it a good little preview.
Yeah, we certainly can. My thoughts at the moment are getting rid of Petkov, who's got 3 sort of away games coming up.
He does, yeah.
And moving into one of those people that have got 3 home fixtures. So Blackburn, obviously, I could bring in De Boer or somebody else. What are you planning on doing?
Honestly, I think I might roll this week. Having watched the CM Fantasy, obviously his sim stream, and then caught up on the Fantasy Champman stream itself, it just feels like this game week might not be the week for me to take any punts, because I've got the likes of Phillips, Viduka, Perez, you know, even Alexanderson, Angel. They're all on my team. I don't particularly want to take a gamble, and I don't think it's the right week to move back to like Van Nistelrooy, for instance. So I'm probably going to hold the transfer and then reassess next week, have a look to see some moves. So at the moment, my team is Sullivan in goal, Tome, Southgate, Sylvester, Lauren, back 4. I'm going to play Perez, De Boer, and Alexanderson in midfield, and then Angel, Phillips, and Viduka up top. Phillips probably takes the captaincy.
I don't blame you, Roland, really. Your team's pretty well set. You've got most of the players that people want to get in already. So why not give yourself those 2 transfers for next week?
Well, exactly. I was going to look at moving on the likes of Muzzy Izzet, obviously injured still. I think he's 90% till game week 19. They've got Leeds away, but then I looked at the fixtures after that, and they've got Millwall at home, Ipswich at home, Tottenham away, Liverpool at home. I don't really want to get rid of him, because I think that's a really nice set of 4 fixtures for Leicester to attack. So particularly that Millwall game next week, you know, I don't know what the sim date will be, but I expect Leicester should probably go there and have a bit of fun.
Yeah, no, if you can get by benching him this week, then why not?
Yeah. And I think the other big thing that we're all going to have to consider over the next few weeks, obviously this week Charlton and Spurs blank, which means that they now double in game week 22. And then just looking at the fantasy sim data just from that video, Spurs look like they go big against Charlton. I mean, both Salakovic and obviously Reb Rob, he's a bit of a dick in this sim at the moment, but it looks like in that day he has the potential to go big. So a few of us will probably be looking to get Spurs in, even from, you know, next week onwards, to build towards that.
Yeah, potentially. I don't really want to go near Rebrov after my 1 week punt last time. I don't think I've seen him do much at all this season.
Yeah. I think I'll probably go Salakovic. I've not owned Salakovic at all this season, but he was a bit of a legend for me the season before. I captained him a couple of weeks when he was a bit of an unknown, well, not particularly an unknown, but his captaincy was low ownership and he holds. So I'd happily go back, and I've got 2.5 million in the bank to do that. So I think it's worth a few considerations moving forward. That's for sure.
Yeah. Did they say on the stream there's going to be a Saturday game week? I swear they said something about there being a Saturday game week coming up.
I think what they were talking about, I think they were looking, or I think I've seen in the chat that they were discussing about the upcoming fixtures and how tight it's going to be because it's Christmas period. So we'll need rotation. I'm not sure that they said that they do a stream on a Saturday.
Yeah, on the stream, the last stream. Maybe you missed it.
I probably missed that, though. I mean, if they are, brilliant. Like, happy days. Do you know when?
I think it's like in a couple of weeks.
Would it be during the international break?
Potentially.
That might have been why. Honestly, yeah, I was knackered and I was having a couple of beers whilst the dog napped. So if I've missed that, then fuck me. But that'd be good. It's probably, I guess, to draw it in as well, isn't it? Because like Chapman, obviously, with it being one game a week, it started when the season had already started. They probably don't want to drag it on too long. And I do want to shout out that the Chapman guys have obviously, they do so much behind the scenes. And they have said today, and I was aware of this from Discord chat and stuff, it costs them £600 a year to run this website.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so they're doing it off their own backs, and they have now finally, and I think they should have done this at the start of the season, but they have tweeted a link for PayPal. So if anybody wants to donate a little bit to the running costs, then albeit I think the guys will be massively appreciated. I have seen some suggestions, you know, obviously if this does go on for a third season, maybe charging people £1 to enter, which given that there's 1,500 players signed up, I don't think people would be too down about paying £1 for a game that has effectively saved a lot of us during these lockdowns. So.
Oh yeah, it's great fun, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'd pay £1 to sit and watch a Chapman stream, and then obviously Luke and Andy make a bit of a tit out of themselves on the stream and have a laugh and that kind of stuff. So it's great fun.
Yeah, well worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. We've got quite a few questions this week, so let's jump into them. Where do we start? I think we go let's start FF Dempsey. So one for both FPL and Sky. How many players do you intend to carry into the blank game week, and who are you targeting for these future fixtures?
So for FPL, I'm planning on having, I think, 10, at least 10, or potentially I could get 11 with a hit.
Yeah.
The focus of the teams on target is mainly Spurs. So I want to get to the point where I have Kane, Son and Bale. I might just have, say, 2 of those. But yeah, I'm also looking at, say, potentially Dunk as a Brighton defender because I fancy their game in 29 specifically. I'm currently on my Ben Mee. So I think I might, get him in. And obviously, he's taking free kicks as well. And he's obviously quite dangerous from them. So I feel like combined with his ability to score from corners as well, like he could have that one week where he just stands out.
His name just makes me shiver now.
Yeah, Sky-wise, I'm not a fan of him. But yeah, Sky, I think I'm planning to have like sort of, I don't know, about 6 players. I'm not really trying to focus on that week too much. Just trying to have the best players in my team at the moment. But yeah, perhaps Dunk was a mistake with the captaincy in Sky.
No, well, yeah, I think I'm similar to you. I'll probably have 10, maybe 11 if I go for a hit. As for Sky, genuinely, I think I might just look to cover the captaincy days. I've probably only got 3 or 4 that will play that week. In fairness, I might even, like I've said, skip that Brighton Newcastle game because I've already moved off of Dunk. Do I then want to spend another transfer to go back to him, to then probably spend another transfer to move back off of him? That's 2 more transfers. Whereas, yeah, if he gets a clean sheet, it's 10 points, it's 20 points. I know. But that one transfer could, be that Antonio moment from last season that I hear about, that people managed to jump on him, obviously, for that Norwich game, whilst others didn't have any transfers left. So that one transfer could be that pivotal moment of the season. And for me, I'm not sure I want to spend that on a Brighton asset, but we'll see. Second question in FPL mode. I find myself without Harry Kewell on my team. Is this an error on my part?
I mean, he's got 3 home games coming up, so like if he's your man, then you should probably have him for these games. But overall, there's better players in his position. So obviously you've seen Cepeda doing the business, Arca doing the business. I think there's better players in the game.
Yeah, no, I agreed. We've obviously got him in the community team. Remind me at the end of these questions, I've got an announcement about the community team, which I'll explain afterwards. I'm not sure if you've seen the chat between ourselves and Panda on the Twitter account, but I'll let you into it. However, for me, 2 goals, no assists. He's played 800 minutes. Looking at the data, I know you and Steve absolutely love Harry Kewell. And I know, we had a bit of a laugh last week and we had him as the option in the community team for captain. You still didn't fucking pick him. So I'm not really sure he's a Chapman asset, but we'll see. Talking to Steve, got a question in from him. Good to hear from you, mate. It's Chapman. Who have been your biggest disappointment and surprise packages so far? Also, what are your personal goals for the rest of the season?
I expected a bit more from Ashley Cole, if I'm honest, when I put him in. I thought we'd get a few more assists, more bonus, but really the clean sheets have even been few and far between. With regards to my personal goals for Chapman, I just want to finish as high as I can. It's my first season, so I'm still sort of learning the ropes. But and also it's quite a tough game, tough competition. We're all kind of nerds that take the game seriously. So yeah, it's tough, but I'm just going to try and finish as high as I can.
Yeah, good man. For me, as much as he's still a big name and he has started to return, I think Viduka has been a disappointment from the start of the season. I brought him in quite a while ago and he was on that continuous run of just, not scoring in games where they were expected to score. And in terms of his numbers, I think obviously he was doing a lot better this time last season than he did this season. But I'm hoping that he's now turned that corner and he'll start to return properly now. But the surprise package for me has been De Boer. It's not really an asset that I had considered, given, Blackburn's options. And he's probably their cheapest midfielder that is returning. But the fact that he plays out of position up front at only 6 million, that's the reason I brought him in, and he's continued to return since bringing him in. So, yeah, I think he's been the biggest surprise. In terms of personal goals, probably finish in the top 100. I know, for some that seems, nailed on, but I can't seem to break into it at the moment. I think I'm sat at 115th, despite getting 88 points last week. I had a 2-place red arrow, which was fucking annoying. So, yeah, just to break into that top 100 would be really nice. I was in it for 1 week this season, and that's it. Questions in from Dave Strom. Thank you very much. FPL related. Who are your must-haves for blank game week 29?
Obviously, one of Kane and Son, ideally both. I think Dunk would be a good player to have in there. Obviously, Newcastle low on firepower without Wilson and ASM. Yeah. Cresswell could be a good punt. I mean, yeah, they've got Arsenal at home, but the man keeps delivering, and West Ham are playing very well.
He does, yeah. That's a good shout. I actually wrote an article on blank game week 29 for Jumpers for Goalposts, who I write some articles with. Brilliant bunch of lads. I'd give them all a follow, to be fair. But if you want to kind of hear my full thoughts, I've got probably a 10-minute article on there that I think is well worth giving a shout. And it actually runs through all the top picks and those that I think might be differentials for 29. So give that a read, mate. In terms of Sky, he's got another question. Is going without Bruno an alternative in Sky, given his huge ownership in the top 1K?
I think it's wise to still hold him, but maybe captaining other players is where you can take a few risks. I think those that have done that in previous weeks, those have been the ones that have been making the gains.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'd advise just captaining other players, but still holding him.
Yeah, I think it would take some serious balls to remove him. And I mean, I'm not entirely against it. If you're really chasing rank, say you're not quite in the top 1K and you want to break in, or you're not quite in the top 500 and you want to break in, then why not? Why not get rid, try and jump on a player that you think matches him fixture-wise, that you could captain him? Aspilicueta, for instance, I know I'm loving the man at the moment, but continuously returning 10 points. So he could be a very good match. Yeah, I think probably if you're willing to take that risk, do it. But if not, what James said, go elsewhere for captaincy, but that's about it. He's got one more question in, cheeky, 3 questions. Nah, that's fine, mate. Chapman related. Thoughts on the upcoming run of games for Blackburn? Could you see yourself captaining someone like Matt Jansen during the upcoming weeks? So obviously Blackburn, they play Watford at home this week. They've then got Sunderland at home, Tottenham at home, Liverpool away, Millwall at home, Ipswich away, Borough at home. It's a lot of home fixtures, like you've already said.
Yeah, very good run. If I owned him, I probably would captain him. Great run of games. Performs well. Yeah. The likes of De Boer as well would not be a bad captain pick against, say, Watford. Obviously, Watford, as we know, attack even away from home. Yeah, I think they're a good team to target.
Yeah. In the Planet FPL Slack channel, there's a kind of goal scorer challenge each week where you have to pick a player that you think will return. You're then not allowed to pick them for the rest of the season. I hadn't realised that I hadn't actually picked Matt Jansen yet, so he's my pick for this week. So hopefully he gets a couple of returns anyway. But yeah, I wouldn't be against it at all. I think he's a tidy little differential there. Question in from Craig Kemp. Are Arsenal players longer-term holds now after many did especially well with them within the double? So obviously Perez, for instance, did really well. And Jeffers stepping in for Henry did exceptionally well for those that went with him.
Yeah, impressed with Jeffers. Was tempted on the free hit to go for him. I didn't. I prioritised other players. But yeah, I'd say hold one of them. I'd say Perez, like if I had owned him, would be the one I'd hold.
Yeah.
Kind of annoyed. I don't actually own him. I only free hit him in last week. So yeah, Perez I think is the best value Arsenal player at the moment.
Yeah, I'm intending to hold Perez for the foreseeable, to be fair. I've also got Lauren, and he's becoming a bit of a frustration with rotation. He'll obviously play a couple of games, then he's rotated, and obviously he only played once in the double. Thankfully, Arsenal conceded anyway, so it didn't matter. But yeah, he might be the one that I might look to move on at some point. Obviously, I'll play him against Millwall and probably Ipswich. Maybe come game week 20, he might be on the chopping block.
Yeah, you want certainty, don't you, of him starting, not getting dropped every now and again.
It's just frustrating, particularly when you've got the likes of Cooper and stuff that are, similar price or somewhat cheaper, that are nailing bonus every single week. So, the players are there to probably jump on. Final question in from 2.0, and it is, have you got Rude at the moment? If not, when are you planning to get him back?
Yeah, I think I've had him in all season. I don't remember ever taking him out. He's just that good that I don't want to waste transfers, hokey in him, taking him out, bringing back someone else. So, yeah, very much a constant in my team.
I don't own him. And I'm in a debate with myself at the moment as to whether I actually go back, because I've got Phillips and I've got Viduka. And it would mean a considerable downgrade of someone else to upgrade Angel to him, which I don't think I'll do because I think it would ruin my team setup. And I don't really want to get rid of Viduka or Phillips because, as you saw last week, Phillips got a massive hole. I captained him, did exceptional. And Sunderland's fixtures are decent, and Leeds' fixtures are also very good. The only thing I could maybe see is the possible hokey-cokey between Phillips and Van Nistelrooy if I've got the transfer. For instance, game week 19, Sunderland go away to Blackburn, whereas Man United are home to Watford. So could I then jump off of them then and then move back to Phillips for, the week after when they're at home to Man City and Watford? I don't know. Something to consider, but it's not hurt me anywhere near as much as I thought it would not having Van Nistelrooy, which has actually probably opened my eyes to life without him, but we'll see. Right. Before I forget, there's an announcement on the Season Keepers community team as well. Now, I don't know if you've seen this in the chat, James, but we got a message from Panda, who is obviously, he has his Panda team that is the spreadsheet team, and that continuously updates each week with, I think it's one transfer a week he gives himself, and it kind of updates with the players that they think will haul. And he messaged to see if we wanted to go against him for the second half of the season. And obviously, to make it fair, I said, right, well, we'll stick to our rules. We won't do transfers each week, but we'll allow them if there's an injury, we'll allow it. However, we might allow the chips in the second half of the season. But in order to set that up properly, I think it's only fair that we allow the community to wildcard at the same time that Panda's wildcarding. So over the next few days, obviously, I'll piece together lists of players and options. We'll do the tweets as we did the last time, and you guys get to pick a brand new team that will hopefully beat the planner team, and that is the intention. So something to spice it up a bit. So we had a great first half of the season. It's basically a dead team. I think there's been one transfer for an injury, but yeah, it might make it a bit more interesting, and then see if you guys pick, say, for instance, triple captaincy in these double game weeks and whatnot. I think it'll be a bit more fun.
Yeah, I think that adds a little bit of spice to it. Providing they don't end up picking Kuehl. I think
I don't even know if I'm going to give Kuehl as an option, and I know that Mode and Steve will probably unfollow us if we don't. But
pitchforks at the ready.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, no, I just thought it'd be a bit more fun. And I think Panda also kindly said that he might potentially put together some graphics for it, and then obviously a little table that we'll keep tabs week in, week out. He's kindly put in a planner spreadsheet into my Champman planner as well for the Season Keepers team. So I better keep tabs on it that way. But that's the big announcement, Champman-wise, guys. So that's a tongue twister. Fuck me. But yeah, I just thought something good to end the pod with.
Yeah, brilliant.
Right. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you again, James. And hopefully tomorrow night we'll be texting each other about a Saints win. But we'll see. Right. So goodbye from me.
And goodbye from me. Cheers, guys.